Oh, mine, yeah, a lot of.
So. All the meeting to order, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll second that.
Any,
No, go ahead. You were saying, any discussion?
I was gonna say all in favor.
No, I would like to amend it.
Okay, so
Um,
you're not moving the agenda.
well, I think we'll move it after we make adjustments, correct?
Move it with the adjustment, and then it would have to be second. But right now, we've got a motion for second
Okay,
to approve this agenda.
I take back my motion.
Second,
I did. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that.
okay,
I propose that, for number 11, this is personal policy amendment. I'd like to eliminate that and add instead a discussion about the 2023 holiday schedule and moving forward.
and what?
In moving forward, although, you know, they're gonna vote on it next, whatever compromise of the board next year, we'll be voting on it next year, but I'd like to have a discussion regarding kind of what we talked about last week. We left it off that this merits further discussion, and that's what I would.
It's seconded, though, there's nothing that says we have to act, we could table it.
And I just think a discussion, we could do that in February as well. If we feel it's needed, we do in February. So I'm just saying, we should have a discussion first, I think. Which I know,
Rather than have. A vote on this.
We don't have a second on Tom. You're starting to discuss something that we don't have a second.
okay,
I'll second.
Go ahead.
discussion.
So you're saying. To change this. To a discussion. Rather than.
Yeah, eliminate
rather
that.
than Vote on a
substitute a
resolution.
discussion. Yeah,
Eliminate what?
eliminate what's proposed as number, agenda item number 11.
Want to get rid of number 11 altogether.
Yep, and then have it.
So we're not going to discuss it at all.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss it, but we're gonna have it, I want to substitute.
So
with it for
substitute
discussion.
for 11.
That doesn't make sense. If you take number 11 off, there is no discussion. In
I think he's saying. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think what he's saying is take the personnel policy amendment off and in place of number 11, put personnel policy discussion.
You would leave it on. And if you have a motion in a second, you can always amend it. And so you have your discussion. There's no reason to take it off the agenda.
I think that was your point, wasn't it, Brett?
Yeah.
I agree.
We can discuss it, there's nothing that says we have to vote on it if it's on here, that we can table it.
Yes.
I just think it might be a different discussion if we're talking specifically about 2003.
2001.
2023. Okay, right, fine. I take back my amendment and I move the courage.
Wait, just a second. You're taking back what you said about the agenda.
Yeah, I proposed.
Okay, then it's the person who's second is gonna take theirs back before you can make.
Okay.
Okay, now,
I move the agenda as it stands.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, public comment. So if you would, please provide your name, address, limit your comments to 3 minutes or less until we get around the room. If we get around the room, then you're welcome to speak again for another 3 minutes, just so everyone has the opportunity to speak. Anyone, you're welcome to speak from your seat, standing at the podium, wherever you'd like to be. Ma'am? You look like you want to talk. I'm not trying to talk to you anyway.
Hi. Been working with building department. I don't know who everybody is here. Unfortunately about a security, like. across the street, which sign broadcast lights through my house and out the other end. So, but I understand 4 days. I called and they said I just have to wait until he's healed. If there's somebody who can help him measure. We actually started this discussion actually last April, May. I got a table, I get the. Trying to meet a formal. And Corey's broken. So I was wondering if someone from the town offices. Don't do it soon as another month and sort of thing, measuring the light.
Sure. I apologize, I don't have a card with me, but if you'll give me a call and if you go to the town's website, give me a call, I'm the town supervisor, give me a call and I'll make sure we get somebody out there to take care of that. Thanks for coming.
Oh, yeah.
What is your address?
My address is 5 Old French Road. Sorry, I don't bring in there.
It's okay.
Mary Hastings, 5 Old French Road. And so my front door faces Rolling Plain. And it's sort of people across the way. And people wants their like. The property, but it comes on and by or walk by. And also, broadcast.
Exactly where you live in. Take care of it.
Thank
But
you.
anyway, there is an email exchange with the user. Nice. My kids will never believe.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Have a good evening. Anyone else? Ma'am?
Mark, Lori, 133 Pine Road. Guys, seen a lot of me here. I see that's on the agenda today to extend the moratorium for Airbnb. I have a level of frustration. Level of frustration is, as Thomas had pointed out back in October, there is an Airbnb that has been on and continuing Airbnb. And there seems to be no record, nothing's been rectified by it. That you guys have been discussing a law. And as I expressed several times before, I'm on 56 acres, not 3 acres. And new amendment laws, but I'm hoping to answer tonight and possibly opening it up. We do have coming in. I know Pittsburgh has been studying this and working to open it up. There seems to be the main complaint of parking, which obviously I don't have an issue with my property. So I'm hoping that there'll be discussion before the decision has been made whether or not to extend the moratorium. When is the PGA? PGA is May 3rd. Just, I don't golf, so, yeah, I think it's that week. It does generate revenue here. I have, spoken to some of, the business owners here and, other places that we're all hoping to reestablish the business here. Get things. Just hoping that maybe we can really think about 5, since it is 70% of town attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Move on to communications. Really spoiled by being here because not everything's here. Andy, go ahead. I'm gonna run downstairs. Real quick.
We finished this parking lot and all that. Basins. In the warm weather, we saw down there. Basically, down the land and town roads and a few. State and county roads. Picking out Christmas trees, patching. And biggest thing that kind of bothered me is the state still hasn't paid us for last year's snow and ice. 2021. Start number for this year. August. God is looking for like this year, but can't do any of it. And they also gave me my lane certification miles, which were wrong, which is a good one. So the state's paying them. And some problem with no one. People working on the code enforcement, dropping the new logo, so we kind of came up with this. That's all like that, it's kind of the same, but a little different. That truck.
We can put this on our cars, that way.
I think John.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I like this.
A little different, shows that that's quarries showing up, it's kind of a forest, so a lot of times I think it's the town, the highway department, why you use backyard, why you drive up here. Like, if we're in here,
Mhm.
it wasn't.
Definitely.
I think he does. State requires it, and that was his kind of idea.
Thank you.
How is that? Is that a, it's not a magnet, right?
Be a sticker.
A sticker? Okay.
And that's how they all are.
That's how they know. Lane certification miles in DOT. Has anything changed? I mean, it's the same miles that for how many years, right?
And I'm pretty sure that was there, a couple of us caught it. But we just left like. Control what they are, and that's what allocated.
Else, anybody? Okay, we'll move on to Michelle.
Town and county taxes, so that's pretty much all I've been doing. We did get a Danny helped me set up on our Mendon Youth Center website, so that's all up and going. I've been adding to that every something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on our website, so separate website.
No, it's under the community tab on our website.
Gotcha.
How are you doing as far as collecting?
The town will be paid by Friday.
That's roughly 2.9, right? 2.9 million.
To go back to the youth center, I noticed, some nice posts have been going out, which is nice. I actually gave Denise credit. She said it should, so.
Yeah.
I said.
Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to Sheldon.
I have nothing.
Brent.
Planning board's got a meeting coming up on February 1st for the Batterson subdivision over on Taylor Road Extension, mile square area. This has been a phase development that's been going on since 2017, excuse me. So their planning board's kind of asking for some overall, what they're looking at. Once you get to a certain point with subdivision, they're gonna have some stormwater concerns. So they're looking at an overall concept plan. before they start subdividing. The owner is kind of likes to subdivide a lot or two at a time and sell it off. And the planning board just wants to make sure that it's methodical in how it's done moving forward.
Where did you?
It's Miles Square Extension.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. It's town part of, sorry, Taylor Road Extension, pardon me. It's where Miles Square, that's the town road, comes up on Hunt Farms. Spray Park is, there's been some discussion about the septic that we're getting pricing on it. I'll refer to John. I'm sure he's got that, some of his communications. Attended a lunch meeting January 17th in Road Community Business Association. They had some discussion about the Hamlet Horn logo. I'm assuming John's got some discussion on that. I will refer to him. They also had a list of upcoming events for coming in 2023. Planning department, been meeting with them, talking about, we've got some proposed code regulations that we've got coming up. You also anticipate might have to do a minor update to our comp plan to go with the code updates. Some very simple code. We're not looking at doing another comprehensive plan. No. With supervisor and LaBella into the Hamlet, I'm assuming he's gonna have that also for him. On the Hamlet, owner of the previous men and walk is exploring possibilities outside of an upstairs apartment. She's got some tenacity, which I think is very important for a Hamlet business owner. So
Still there.
yeah, she is
Yes,
still
right
there,
now.
yes. And she's looking at what fits into the code and what the state will allow and what the county will allow with regards to parking and wastewater. So that they can work. So I spoke with a couple other business owners. They had talked about doing upgrades consistent with the comprehensive plan. I had mentioned to them, you know, the town really does right away. I'm going to meet with them probably early March to discuss. I told them there's nothing that keeps them from going after grant dollars. And they asked, well, how could the town assist? I said, well, you know, we review the comprehensive plan. If it's consistent with the comprehensive plan, we can give you a letter of support. The town board could give you a letter of support to help you. So gonna meet with them to discuss that. I also received an email as the town liaison to the planning board. I don't know if you noticed there was some Facebook discussion regarding amending zoning codes to allow granny flats, outbuildings. Basically accessory dwelling units on there. What is on there, I'm gonna meet with code enforcement tomorrow. Because I thought we had some things in our code which were allowed before I respond to them, but I also reviewed what was on Facebook and it was kind of, you know, I think we had like 12 people that said, yeah, this is a cool idea. And it was that mix of the town of Rush, Village of Lima, town of Lima, town of Mendon. It's something we could be discussing in the future, but I want to sit down with them. That's what we have there first. That's a very broad subject. Oh, and one other thing, I also reviewed that letter that we got from our county legislature with regards to some of our town roads. As we're thinking, I kind of thought that our response should be if some of our residents have concerns with town roads, that they could petition the town board, come to us and let us know what their concerns are, whether it be in writing. I don't think it should be coming to us from our county legislature and we don't know what they are.
That's right.
I guess that would be my suggestion. If that happens again, we ask them to come before us.
Seems reasonable. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Karen?
Continuing to attend the fire committee. I think we're moving along fairly quickly. We've had some pretty lively discussions about, some, opportunities between the two fire departments. Hopefully we will have everything wrapped up by mid-February is the plan. Attended the HPC. Hopefully they got the minutes to Denise. That's what they were supposed to get them to.
It's for the website, they give it to you, right?
They didn't give them to you?
Yeah, you're the only one with access other than Danny to the website.
Michelle, did they give you the, oh, they did,
We're
okay,
on the website.
okay. And we're continuing to formalize things a little bit better than they have in the past, so hopefully we'll continue to give notes every. That's it.
Yeah, how long?
Much longer.
Did you say that? I was looking.
Hey, oh, for the fire thing is mid-February.
Okay.
Because we had an extension from last time.
Right, I
that we
remember that.
Okay.
Cindy?
The library hasn't met again this month. They had a meeting earlier on the second. And they were just formalizing some plans that they had for summer reading program. Some of the presenters that they are going to have. They did have a hot chocolate get together on January. Martin Luther King Day 16th, was that January 16th? And that's it, just did some general planning. That's it.
Huh?
No zoning board, that was canceled earlier this month. The zoning board has not met in a couple of months now. I've been promised by Katrina that there's something going on in February, so that's good. As far as the youth center, the bus is going anywhere from 0 to a handful of kids on it every day. I check every few days. I have reached out to the head of PTA. They have a newsletter that goes out to parents. I've reached out to someone in the school district about putting in the district school letter as well. So hopefully we'll start ticking up here soon. That's it.
Thank you. The farming lease that we approved a few months ago, the gentleman wants to sublease that to another farmer. I checked with Sheldon, the town attorney, and advised him that that was fine. We didn't need anything from either one of those two gentlemen. It's an agreement between them. And it's a 5-year lease, so I imagine the gentleman that's subleasing it will continue for the 5 years. I'm planning on hiring a subject to background check, a part-time buildings and grounds person, effective the end of the month. Somebody who can, as I've talked to the board about this in the past, somebody who can perform handyman type of activities, it'd be 20 hours a week. So would be able to be available for buildings and grounds. Now, when I say grounds, I don't mean, you know, mowing, because Andy and I have had a chance to sit down and kind of separate the duties. But the person might help out, you know, in May when the grass is growing like crazy or something like that. But generally it's buildings, both interior and exterior buildings. The person has some background, you know, in various things, carpentry, plumbing, electrical, you know, basic background. I think it'd be a great addition to our staff, and we wouldn't be reliant on some of the things we're relying on today. And for instance, today I went down to the basement and we've got another plugged line in our sewer line inside the building that we had. So we called the Penfield Plumbing. They're the ones who came out last time and fixed it. So they did want to they had this thing where they go inside the pipe and take all I forgot what it's called, but any kind of stuff, for lack of a better term, that's stuck to the inside of the pipe because stuff hangs up on that. And last time they told us we need to do it, I told them go ahead, but I need an estimate, never got an estimate. And so this time I'm gonna have, they're coming out the first thing Thursday morning, fix the problem, make sure we get an estimate from them on cleaning the lining of these pipes. So that hopefully we don't have this problem again. It's an old building. And
So John, do you have someone in mind or have you posted for that job or no?
oh yeah, we advertise for it, everything in the
So
paper.
you have someone who,
Yes, there's one person applied.
Okay.
I've known that person since he was probably 8 or 9 years old, and his name is Kevin Jungi, he lives on Mendon Ionia Road. And I think he'll do a good job for us. As Brent said, we had a sidewalk meeting with the town engineer, we're just waiting for a cost estimate on the survey. Once I get that, I'll be coming back to the board for approval to consider hiring Labella for the the soft costs of getting things together to outline where sidewalks might go and phase. I provided everybody with the 2023 salaries for the town of Mendon employees, and we're also taking part in the salary survey of all the towns in Monroe County, like we always do. And then once I get that back from the town of Chi-Li, not all the towns participate, but most of them do, I will on board. Brent said we're moving along with the septic at the spray park. It's been a little bit of a long road on that, but we're getting there little by little. Our short-term rental meetings are ongoing. Those are internal meetings. RG&E, I'm working with them on replacing some of the street lights with LED lights. Blaze Soccer came in, they want to talk about providing more soccer fields at Seminole Road, and I explained to them that until we get this septic situation straightened out, we're not going to be doing anything, but they did mention that they felt on the current fields there were a couple of spots that aren't draining properly, so I'm going to get together with Andy and the people from Blaze and take a look at where they say it's not draining properly, and maybe there's something that can be done. I don't know, but we'll take a look at it. I took part in a comptroller's webinar on protecting public funds last week. It's very informative. The Monroe County Water Authority, unbeknownst to me, has been taking water samples from Critics Family Restaurant for years and years and years. And because Critics is scheduled to close at the end of March, they are considering another location to take water samples, and it may be a town of Mendon building, which would be the library or town hall. And I explained to them that I would want to have town board approval before we need to having them take water samples. The Coon case, which is the West Bloomfield Road, I attended that in court recently, and that is continuing to progress. I'm in the process of providing an affidavit to our attorney. That was Brett and I met with Jennifer Song, who is the latest owner of the Chinese restaurant. We had quite a lengthy discussion about what her opportunities are. Certainly feel for her. She's dealing with 3 governmental agencies. She's dealing with the state. It's an intersection of state highway. She's dealing with the county because of her septic situation. And of course, she's dealing with the town because of our town code. So, we explained to her that we'd like nothing better to have a term business, and that, but there are limitations that because of the county's requirements, the state's requirements, that she's going to. It's not an easy one for her. Let's see. Injury that supposedly occurred on the sidewalks in Hamilton. And as Brent mentioned, we attended the MCBA meeting and talked to them a little bit about what's going on with the There are, as you read my response to the Sentinel this week, you will see where I said, you know, this business of building things and asking for forgiveness is not the cheapest way to go. Getting a building permit, doing it according to code is the way to go. And unfortunately, we've had some businesses that buildings that are business in the business district that move in the business district that have changed hands lately. That the new owner is finding out that the previous owner did not necessarily get permits or do things to code or anything of the above. And, you know, quite frankly, it's going to cost a lot of money to change. So we'll continue to work with them, but the code's the code. My communications. Move on to supervisor's monthly report.
Motion to acknowledge receipt of the supervisor's monthly report. January 2020, no, excuse me, for December 2022.
I'll second.
Any discussion? As you can see, all our revenues are and our expenses, except for one, is under 100%, which is always a good thing from year to year.
I think it looks good.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Now clerks want to report.
Which receipt of the town clerk monthly report for December 2022, showing receipts and disbursements in the amount of $4,981.21. 21 in here, but it's 29 on.
Oh. Yeah. Revenues there around.
Should be 29, correct?
Yep. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll say.
Any discussion? Favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next are budget transfers.
The budget transfers for 2022 is listed in the agenda.
Any discussion? Obviously, putting a lot of revenue that was unbudgeted into reserves, other things that were unspent into reserves, and in the spray park, the improvements to buildings and the sidewalk, as well as highway equipment. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Vouchers.
Is he reading still? I'll make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers number 23-001 to 23-081 on general abstract 23-01 in the amount of $629,763.04.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to make note of some of these. I mean, that's a pretty large amount of budgets. We had a little under 50,000 for rock salt, approximately 130,000 total for spray park, and that included Whitney East, Labella, and CP Ward. About 172,000 for our fire contract with Honey and Falls, 170,000 for retirement system, and 57,000 to Burma. Just wanted to make sure January, there's always quite a bit
Big
of,
one.
yeah.
For sure. Any discussion? It's pretty normal. We do have a capital project going, but in January, there are some. And so that's kind of a normal business. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
The library vouchers number 23-001 to 23-006 on library abstract at 23-01 in the amount of $1,671.70 were presented to the town board for payment.
Thank you. Number 11, personnel policy amendment.
See, 4.01 holidays is hereby amended as follows.
There a second
I'll second.
discussion?
Yeah, this is what I failed spectacularly at doing earlier at the meeting. We discussed this last month and I explained my position on this, and that is that I think we did a disservice to the highway department a couple of years ago. There's not too often that a new federal holiday is added, and I don't think we handle it as well as possible. This year, Andy came to us 15 days. I'm not saying that we're making up for past whatever, but I don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying that that's a personal policy from here to forward. Actually, like I said, I possibly won't even be on the board next year, so it won't be my opinion anyway. So I just think for the highway department, I think they deserve that extra day this year. And again, it makes up for last year where we kind of messed things up a little bit, or at least, personally, for my opinion, I think I messed things up. So that's where I stand on it. I prefer that we table this amendment, so.
I guess I'm confused on the federal holiday.
Yep.
Of being applied to the highway department, but not being applied to the town hall.
2 years ago, it was added, and we kind of rammed the schedule down Andy's throat. And it wasn't necessarily what he wanted. So I'm not saying I'm making up for it, I'm just explaining kind of my mindset here.
But that was 13 days and 13 days.
Yeah.
Back that year.
I mean, I don't have a problem. Again,
I think what you're saying, I think what is being missed here is they were forced to give up the 1 day. Because they were forced to take the federal holiday came out,
Okay.
okay? And they were
forced to
forced to take that day and give up one of the days that had been past practice. Okay,
Was that handled at town hall?
But we're not talking about town hall, we're talking about highway department.
Oh, okay, but this is for all employees
They
that
did
have
not
the
have to
same
give
number of
up. They
holidays.
did not have to give up the day that they. That's practice.
It was a bad time of year to take a holiday, but we kind of said, sorry, you gotta take that holiday. So that's what
you're talking the highway.
the highway, yes, so.
Okay.
And besides that, I mean, honestly,
So did the town hall get 14 days that year?
no, everyone got 13. Andy proposed 14 and I and a couple other board members didn't have a problem with it. In addition, I mean, and I know that if there's a windstorm the day before a holiday, these guys aren't gonna take it. I mean, they get paid a little bit more, which is good. I mean, Christmas
We're
Eve,
having a day off.
yeah. I mean, Christmas Eve and we're sitting with our family and going to church and all that kind of stuff. They were plowing the roads. I mean, I
get that they're paid,
yeah. But
but then they're not given another holiday off when they had to come in and work on that holiday.
Christmas Eve was a holiday.
Well, I wasn't in town. I don't know if they were.
This is, yeah, I mean, I'm not
curious.
talking about,
I think Brent asked you a question earlier that Tom, I really don't think he answered.
what was the question?
Like-
About the holidays at the town hall taken off, or the difference between the
13 and
town hall, the 13 and 14?
I forgot how you phrased it.
I mean, what I'm seeing here, and this is my biggest concern here, is saying the highway department has 14 days and the town hall has 13 days. We're cultivating a culture, well, we're facilitating the culture of an us versus them.
I mean,
That's my concern. I
how
mean,
big a deal do you think it's gonna be in the context of a year? And again, I said,
Well,
how big a deal, I mean, again, we have professionals that work for us. I think professionals can deal with it.
I would
You're
say. that
contradicting your point.
But if
Well,
you're saying that you're not, these people deserve an extra day, that's where I'm at. I just don't see.
For that 14th day.
Andy, I don't think Andy asked for, I went over and talked to the highway guys,
Okay.
back in November. I think it was November. Because I wanted to get their take on it. And I asked Andy if I could come over and talk to them, and he said, absolutely. He said, it doesn't matter one way or the other to me. I'm 24/7, so he said, it's not gonna matter one way or the other to me. But I want to do what's right for my guys, and I give him a lot of credit for that, because he went to his underlings, so to speak, and said, what do you want? Their biggest concern was, this is what we've had going forward, going backwards, let's say. In the past, this is what we've had before this holiday came into play. Why are we being forced? We don't understand why we are being forced to take that day, when it's a day when we can do a lot of work. You know, beginning of summer. And have to give up a day that we've had in the past. They didn't understand. And I couldn't say much to them other than, because I know that there are some places that work on Juneteenth and some places that don't.
Right, and I think there was, maybe I'm missing something here. I thought there's a good number of floaters because there are certain dates. I understand. You're not seasonal labor, but a lot of the labor that you do is seasonal. You're almost all seasonal labor. This time of the year, you're looking at salting operations. Summertime, you're doing a lot of oiling and stoning, correct? So there are, when it's seasonal, you have to do that work, correct? So, and there are adjustments in the holiday schedule. There's flowers, there's in lieu of, because we know that there's doing work, and I thought that proposal had an in lieu of this. The Juneteenth. Was it, no, it was if the weather proposes, if
Right.
not, it's gonna be used as a floater. But it just brings me back to my concern is the 13 versus 14 and this faction. Do I feel as it's gonna be a major ordeal? Major, I don't think there's gonna be pitchforks and torches, but I think there is gonna be some discontent.
I was informed last week that people are gonna call, and I said, give me a call, and I didn't hear a thing.
That's not true. That's not what I said.
No, I
Say
just.
keep
said
your
that people were
phones
gonna-
on.
keep
That's
your
not what I
phones on.
said,
You said keep your phones on.
because I wasn't gonna take any kind of complaints.
And I said, give them to me, and I didn't
Right,
get
but
it.
that's not what you just said.
Wait,
You just said expect phone calls, and I didn't say that. I wanna get back to what Brent said, is that I've been for 13 all along. However, even more important to me is that it's fair for all employees. And they should all get the same number of days. If it's 13, it's 13, if it's 14, it's 14. If you wanna know my opinion, it's 13. I went to the highway department in December also, and I spoke to them, and I told them all, I'm for 13. The days can be observed as we've done a week ago today. The Martin Luther King Day, that town hall was closed, highway department was in operation, they take that holiday during better weather in lieu of. And that's fine with me, I don't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem with differentiating between employees. Employees, I think, need to be treated fairly. And I think the same number of days is appropriate throughout the town. Just my opinion.
Are we talking, well, if we talk days. I went through and looked at and said if all town and highway personnel work a full shift every week of the year, the numbers are as follows. The town office personnel hours work 35 hours per week times 52 for 1,820 hours per year. Highway department works 40 hours per week, 52 weeks a year, or 2,080 hours per year. Therefore, the highway department is working 260 hours more per year than the town office personnel, which equals 32.5 more days.
And they get paid for it.
Mhm.
They'll get paid hourly, correct?
Right, they're not salary employed.
Yeah.
They're hourly.
They'll get paid hourly.
But still, I mean,
Correct. I don't see where that is a bearing at all.
Vacation day, they get paid
So,
7 hours.
so the town,
You
so
work
the
7 hours.
highway department works 18 days to get one holiday. And town hall, and I'm not talking, I really didn't want to get into the fair and not fair, but that's all I keep hearing. And the town office people work 16 hours, or excuse me, 16 days to get one day holiday. So if we want to talk fair, is that fair? I mean, we can go around this, down this road of fair and not fair and whatever. Andy's employees gave their.
Excuse me, they're not Andy's employees. They're town men and employees.
But
Okay, you want to
People that
split hairs.
Well, I think you need to be
No, you're
factual.
splitting hairs is what you're doing.
You're getting excited.
I'm not getting excited. I'm trying to make a point and you interrupted me.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're being unfactual.
Being what?
Unfactual.
Okay, highway employees, excuse me. Highway employees gave me their reasoning. I felt the reasoning was sound. That's why I voted the way I voted. It wasn't until all of this came up that I sat down and started figuring things out. With this information, with the number of days they were for whatever, I am not in any way, shape, or form trying to put down town office employees. They work hard too. They deserve holidays. I just don't want to hear anymore. It's not fair. It's not fair. Life is not fair. So I'd like to continue this discussion, figure out what we're gonna do with calmer heads, maybe cooler heads. But I'm tired of hearing it's not fair.
How about it's not equitable? I mean, I think that's what I'm trying to get, at. Maybe I'm using fair. I think equitable is the
Well,
term that I'm trying. to
I
use.
would just say that we voted for both of the holiday schedules. And to amend it now is kind of crazy. We're into a new year. We voted. We voted the way we wanted to vote and it's gone through.
yeah, that's my.
So whether or not you like it, it was voted down.
Personnel policy currently, which I think I provided all of you with a copy. What you voted on in January at the organization meeting is in direct contradiction to that policy.
And Sheldon told us that we were able to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's the employees manual.
It's a
I
manual.
respectfully disagree.
Well, Sheldon said legally we could do that.
Is that correct, Sheldon?
I'm unsure what was
Are
just
we,
said.
are we bound by anything in the employee? If the highway department, if we, for 1 year, said they're gonna have
You can
14.
amend the employee manual is adopted by this board, so this board has the legal authority to amend it. I believe that's what I said.
Which
If
it
you
has
choose
not
to
been.
use If you choose to do that,
But if we are not amending the manual, the 14 days that we voted on, is that legal or not legal?
well, you are amending the manual by adopting that.
Mhm.
By implication, you're clearly amending it.
For this year.
or whatever.
Every year, yeah, every year you do it. Yeah. So, all right, if. That's it, I mean, so based on that discussion, based on the 2 votes last week on 3, I do want to know the name. And I mean, how do you vote to table this amendment?
I would just make the motion at the table.
Well,
Make a
I'm-
decision
I'm-
next.
I'd like the opportunity to speak more.
Oh, go ahead.
So, I think that. I think it's a disservice to have a different schedule. A different schedule I don't have a problem with, but the total number of days, I think it's a disservice to the employees. I think it breeds discontent. And it breeds a feeling of us versus them when normally we're all working in the same direction. And as I said earlier, I was for 13 all along, but I am more for having the same number for all employees. And if the board wants to do 14 for one group of employees or one department of the town of Mendon, that's up to the board. If there's 3 people who feel that way, then by all means, go in that direction. I have 20% of the vote here. And a misconception that I have any more of it. So I will tell you that I prepare the agenda. That's part of my job, part of my duties. I prepare the agenda. I put things on the agenda that I think have in favor of, and B, I think have a reasonable chance for passage. If I don't think it meets any of those requirements, I will not put it on the agenda. And if you agenda every meeting, and if you don't know how, you should get out that little blue book and read it, because it explains it to you. I think you've all been to New York for training. Quite frankly, you should know that. And I'm done. Have better things to do. Is there a motion to table this?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of tabling?
I-
Aye. We'll move on to, Brent, you're
I
okay?
voted for.
I'm
tabling
sorry.
it, yeah.
Any opposed? I should have said. Pardon me. Environmental Conservation Board appointment.
A motion to appoint Timothy Engstrom to Environmental Conservation Commission, term to expire 12/31/2024.
Second that.
Hey, I met with this gentleman this week. Unfortunately, Tom and the chair of the ECB could. Gentleman lives in the confines of the village of Honeyett Falls. I explained to him that that our Environmental Conservation Board has nothing to do with the village of Honeyett Falls. They have their own. He still is very interested, wants to participate, and because the village, of course, is within the town, he's every right to be there, and I think he would be a good addition. He's a professor at RIT. I think he'd be a good addition to the ECB.
One thing I think to note is the resolution says it's a non-compensated position. I believe the ECB receives. They receive a stipend for each meeting.
You are absolutely right. They do. I forgot they do receive a stipend for each meeting. Thank you for correcting.
So do we need to amend that?
This is a compensation per meeting.
So do I remove my move, and
You consent to the amendment.
I consent to the. Back to
Second.
second person.
Seconded. Thank you. Thanks, Frank, for catching. I forgot they do get paid stipend for each meeting. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to contract with Donald Young, Esquire.
For scope of services, representation, responsibilities, fees and these disbursements and other charges, client and confidentiality and records. Agreement dated December 19th, 2022, fiscal year 2023. Not to exceed $15,000 from account number B8020.111.
I'll second that.
That you may want to consider.
Oh, any other legal services that may be requested by the town that do not include representation of the planning board will be billed at $225 per hour, subject to the town amended budget.
Seconding that.
I'm good.
Okay, any discussion?
Is that typical fee for? I don't know what attorney's fees are.
I don't know, we, really? Sheldon, you have a.
There's no such thing as typical.
Never mind.
It's pretty much in line with what we've been paying them all.
Yes, that's true.
That would be my best answer.
Thanks for your time.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Community Center application and agreement packet.
The Community Center application agreement packet changes to the document effective January 23rd, 2023.
Any discussion?
What is the change?
They're right on the first page of
Oh,
your
sorry.
thing. Right here, there are bullet points all the way down the front page. That's all the changes that were made. And then you have the new application beyond that. Should have received this on Friday. Okay, we made a few changes here, just because it needed to be updated and, you know. We removed the $50 yearly maintenance for nonprofits. To me, that did not make sense. Why we're charging nonprofits in the town of $50 for maintenance. And, the fees, you know, we changed the refund of the fees. Denise is taking care of that. And then, it for-profit groups had to get approved by the town board. I mean, sometimes we only meet once a month.
Right.
That could become very inconvenient for somebody who wanted to use that building. And so, you know, the rest of them were just kind of it's like shutting off the air conditioning and set the heat, things like that. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, credit card acceptance for items at town clerk's office. We'll make a motion for that the number of town clerk was out. Other items at the clerk's office is not taxes. I probably should have said property taxes. They're not to do property tax.
And of property.
Any discussion? This was, came out of that webinar I did the other day. Or need to pass a resolution. Any other discussion?
So we can't do property taxes by credit card?
We can't, but the county can, right, Michelle?
Oh, we can, we just don't. Goes into a whole nother account, so that would require a whole nother credit card machine, which
Oh, okay.
we don't have. Okay,
Get used to the one that you got.
Yeah, baby steps, right?
one thing at a time.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Men in Green, conservation easements. Got a great big map stuff.
I will make a motion, be it resolved by the town board of town of London, duly assembled, that attached easements are hereby approved. Open space conservation easement, final approval from PUD, site revised proposal, conservation easements lot number 1 and lot number 30, subject to Attorney General's approval and by the HOA.
Any discussion?
That might not be the lawyer, but it's, and I went through this, it all seemed to make sense. What was all the discussion was for the conservation easement. And it holds the past, allows them structures or anything else on there.
Right.
Sheldon, my one question is it typical that it needs to be accepted by the HOA also?
Yes. Yes.
I think this is a very important part of, from my time on the planning board and watching the planning board go through this, going down to 30 homes and maintaining this as a, even though it is a PUD, it's a conservation easement, so for future generations to keep that space open.
Yeah, it's only 15 acres of the 90 something.
Right.
I think that's, I won't call it a win, I'll call.
Right.
Any other
So when is
discussion?
we're gonna do-
Oh, pardon.
I'm sorry. No, I
No.
was just-
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Before we do number 17, I've got a Scrivener's error here for local law number 2 of 2022, and it's written in 3 different places in the resolution. So if you could refer to whoever moves it as local law number 2, I would appreciate
I'll make a motion to extend moratorium on short-term rentals, local law 2, 2022 for 180 days. Prescribed by local 2, 2022.
discussion. We are progressing, but we do have to schedule a public hearing. Once the law is vetted by legal, which should be coming your way soon, Sheldon. And we also have to notify Monroe County Planning, which can take up to 30 days for review. And so the original expiration date, which was the end of February, if I'm not mistaken, Brent. I by no means think we need another 180 days, but the law said it can be extended by 180 days 2 different times. So I'm thinking we're looking at probably another month or so, probably another 30 out of those 180 days, providing we can get information from the county and get a public hearing scheduled and that type of thing. Because once we get it vetted by the attorneys, the town board needs to receive it 7 days before you under consideration at one of these meetings. And then we've got to schedule a public hearing. We've got to have a public hearing. We've got to send it to the county. We've got to wait for their comments. There's a few things that have to be done. So the end of February, I think, is really too tight of a time frame.
But you don't think that we'll need the 180
No.
days?
I would be surprised myself.
So can we do it for less than 180 days or do
That's what the local law says. It can be extended
Oh,
twice
you
for
have to
180
do it
days.
for 180?
We don't have to wait.
Up to.
Yeah,
So-
we have to wait. I mean,
But
when,
we don't have to have it be there.
Okay.
just want to say I'm genetically predisposed to be weary of any government agency that says they want an extension, but I just have to say, and if I could address members of the audience that may have a concern, I know specifically John and Brett have been working really hard on it, so I will give deference to them because they've been working so hard on it, and I know they want to get it,
They wanna
to
get it right.
craft this thing right and to craft it, when it's ready, so I feel confident voting for it.
Early started working on this. I forgot what it was, August probably, if I remember right.
Started it almost immediately.
Yeah.
after we started work. And, as we discussed, it's like, oh, geez, if we look at this and you gotta look at the comprehensive plan and it snowballs, right? And I'm
And that-
sure Sheldon's down there, yeah, it sure does.
And you don't want anything in your code that's gonna contradict another part of your code.
Then we
Right.
start looking at definitions. Holy cow, that's not defined, we have to define it, so.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Excuse me. Let's see. Oh, highway superintendent, advocacy day.
Make a motion to permit the amended highway superintendent to attend advocacy day in Albany, New York, March 7th and 8th, 2023. One night lodging not to exceed $185 plus mileage from account A 5010.46.
Second.
Any discussion?
The advocates that they kind of taught me, it looks like just as a symposium, the training, no, session.
Show us money.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Basically. Go ahead, excuse me.
We just, all the highways, it's all go down there.
Okay.
On the center, some of them in our areas. So, that's a good rate. For federal money for the town roads.
All right, and I think, I think Bud was very diligent with that stuff also, and if he saved some, that's how we paid for this salt barn, correct, was saving chips money, so.
Yes.
Very important, gotcha.
Yeah, it's more or less a lobbying effort
Yeah.
by the highway superintendents to the elected officials at the state level.
Okay, yeah, I saw
Keep
the
it
advocacy,
net.
that's what I thought, advocacy, then I saw symposium that here kind of threw me off. Okay.
Add a little few more syllables to it. 19, historic preservation.
didn't-
We didn't vote.
Oh, I have. Nice. Any opposed? Thank you. Historic Preservation Committee.
Motion to appoint Martha Bush to the Historic Preservation Committee, term to expire December 31st, 2024. This is a non-compensated position.
That is true on this.
Is that true?
I got this right.
Sorry.
Yes, currently, our historian Diane Ham, is I forgot what the term was, but she can, if there's 5-0. They're assuming this lady is approved tonight, there would be 5 of them. If one of them is missing from a meeting, then Diane gets a vote, otherwise she goes anyway. And it works out very well, and because she can be there, it allows them to have a quorum. When they've been operating before, prior to the.
I will tell you that there are a couple of people that are on that board that are travelers. So we're gonna have some times where we're gonna have a problem if we don't.
Good, well, that's good. I appreciate her coming forward.
It's also self-proclaimed history nerd, so.
Yeah, the right place. Yes, no, I met with her, I met with Blake, and I thought she would be a very good addition. No.
No,
Jeff.
Yeah.
I bet. I bet. I just think he's bad. No, I bet. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Back to public comment. Anyone wish to comment, if you please provide your name, address. Keep your comments 3 minutes or less until everyone has a chance to speak.
Connie showed me 35 Tomlinson Lane, and as you know, I'm in. 14 days, 13 days, I thought that was really the only issue. Any, advocated for this, for the highway. Town hall employees, and actually their work is a reflection of him. He's an elected official. The town hall employees are the face of the town hall, especially those in the building department and town clerk's office. We're a reflection of you. But we didn't have anybody to advocate for us. In terms, and also reference taken away from us also. The other one was struck down our throat. In terms of 35 hours and 40 hours, which wasn't, I didn't think was the issue at hand. Hours is a benefit. 40 hours gives you not only extra pay in your paycheck, your future. So the highways employees are at an advantage over the over their own, no father. We all fight for a job. We're glad to get a job and accepted the hours and the benefits that we're and might I add, brief. But I was always grateful that we had 13 hours. But I was not happy about having one shoved down our throat and our New Year's Day taken away, which also hit those. So we are professional, but we also are disrespected as well as anybody else.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. I'll give you a sheet to Marshall. Sure.